It's a little prayer. It's found in the Hebrew Scriptures. And the reason I like it is that it preserves the subjunctive mood. It's uncertain. I don't remember the Hebrew, but you may recognize the English. May these words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be found true in thy sight, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Which sounds more pious than it really is. It's a plea that I will find honesty of self, that I will be able to give some integrity to the moment. What separates this hour from a show is that there's a real person talking about reality, not someone trained to give the impression of being real. And when that's done well, it's beautiful. I love the theater. I went to see the opera at the movies yesterday. It was magnificent. I cried. But I knew it wasn't real. What makes a church service different is at some point it has to be real. And that means the preacher has to be real. And that means taking risks. So may it be your will that I speak the truth in word and thought. I want to speak to you as a community of faith this month, for the next 3 weeks particularly, which doesn't mean you're going to hear them that way, because you all sit in your own seat with your own lives. You don't think like a church, you all think like people, which is the way you should do it. But I'm looking at a community. I tell people that's the biggest difference between sitting there and standing here. When you sit there, you look at one person. When I stand here, I see all of you. And I see all the people who aren't here either. So I'm going to speak to the whole community. You will hear it as an individual. And that's all right, and I expect that, and I want that to happen. But I do this because I think we as a community are reaching a decision point about our future, a crossroads, where we must decide which way to go. In the newest newsletter, our January Chimes, which is available online, and we have a few copies here, I talked about this. And I'm here to tell you where I think we need to go. And I'm saying this not because you need to follow me, but because someone needs to put something out there so we can work on that. 4 years ago, I put forward what I believed is my idea of what liberal religion is all about. Liberal religion in the large sense. You hear a piece of it every Sunday when the welcomer says those words. It comes down to 3 little phrases: to free the mind, to grow the soul, and to change the world. It doesn't say anything about believing in God or not believing in God, or being a Christian or being a Muslim or being a Buddhist or being an atheist. It says that if you're involved in the spiritual endeavor in a way that you want to learn more, to grow more, and to do more, and never stop, you're part of a liberal faith, and that includes this church. But it occurred to me that that's a definition of liberal religion. It's not a mission for a church. Because a mission, if you remember all your World War II movies, is when the lieutenant says, "Sergeant, go out there and get that hill." You don't tell the patrol to go out and win the war. You give them a particular task. And I'm wondering whether or not it's time for us to look at particular tasks we can undertake, things that advance the idea of freeing the mind and growing the soul and changing the world, but something we can do. We can do here, in this house and in this town. We can do now to embody that mission. Like I said, this is not mine to decide for you. That would be contrary to the spirit of liberal religion itself. You have to be part of it, not just doing it, but believing it and wanting it. So when I give you my ideas, they are meant to call forth your ideas. Perhaps you like my ideas. I'll be thrilled if you do. I will not be hurt if you don't. Because after all, this is a church, not a business with a CEO running it. So I'm going to give you this week, next week, and the week after that 3 ideas about what we can do now. We can do here and now to advance the cause of liberal religion. And as you can detect if you read your newsletter, that the titles are all derived from that poem that I just read to you a little while ago. This one is called The Imprisoned Lightning. Next week, Worldwide Welcome. And finally, Homeless and Tempest-Tossed. I truly believe that sonnet by Emma Lazarus contains the spirit of liberal religion as well as a liberal democracy. And so I'm going to mine it each week. My dream for Fountain Street Church in the near future really does start at that island trip, that little one I made with my son in 1994 on the boat. That was Election Day. Anyone remember what happened on Election Day of 1994? I see a couple of heads with mournful recognition. That betrays their politics. That was the year of the contract with America. Oh, I hear a few moans go over the congregation. But at that moment, we didn't know that. What I'm remembering is that all these people from different countries, different cultures, different backgrounds were all on the same boat going to the same place. Now, why would people from Nigeria and South Africa and Europe and South America and the United States all be getting on the same boat? Because they wanted to see the Statue of Liberty. Why would they want to see the Statue of Liberty? They don't go flocking to other statues. I mean, we have a great statue of a horse here, but they don't line up to go there from all over the world. It's a great statue because that statue represents an idea that is not only about America, it transcends America. It is about, quote, that liberty that I think every human being wants. And I say they want that spiritually as well as politically. And so when I invoke that statue in the harbor, I'm invoking that poem and that idea because I believe that liberal religion is the religious statue of liberty, that people are looking for it. They know it's out there. Not everyone, but a lot of people are. They're looking for it, and they will cross an ocean with people they don't know, not knowing the language, to get there because they want to be in a place where they can think and believe with abandon, where they can reach with their souls in ways that they cannot right now, where they can make a difference in the world because they decided, not someone else decided. They want what we have. That is the place to start. Because there is something spiritual everyone wants, and it is that free the mind, grow the soul, change the world thing. And I believe this church does that. We do it in worship, we do it in character school, we do it in our adult education programs. But I think right now we face an additional challenge. I think our lightning is too confined. It's imprisoned more than it needs to be. Now, I understand you can't let lightning run all over the place. It'll hurt. It'll burn. It'll short out the air conditioner. It'll ruin your DVD player. But it's also the electricity, the spirit that is the zest of things. And I looked back on our history. Thank goodness for people like Roger Birchhausen, a colleague who is also an author of part of our history, the liberal legacy. I looked back because something happened this past year that reminded me of our history. A number of parents in our character school got together and said, we want character school to be better. Now, this is not a criticism of Matthew at all, or of Lydia, or of the character school. They just wanted it to be more. They were eager, they were hungry. They were showing that I want to get on the boat feeling. And we want to help them. But you know, you can't let people just go off half-cocked. We want them to be completely cocked before they go off, right? And I really mean that. We want them not only to want something, but to have the energy and the discipline and the devotion to get it done, not just wish something about it.